And in one particular friend of mine, bless him, he died, was Kane. I met Kane when he was in Mobley. And that's how we became friends. In later years, I met with him again in Cheetah Mill. So we just had that instant connection. But he already had friends in Cheetah Mill. And as a result of that, we banded, but it wasn't that type of like pally-pally. And it resulted where we went out to commit a robbery. Not necessarily planned, on the spur of the moment. I knew nothing about it, to be perfectly honest. I'll never forget, it was January 1981. I was sat in the house watching the Dukes of Hazzard, believe it or not, because outside was freezing, it was cold. I didn't want to move from the comfort of the home. And that was Kane's house. I was living with Kane at certain times. And Kane came in and said, you want to go and do a robbery? And at first my reaction was, oh no, it's cold out there. Forget it, mate, I'm not interested. But he played on my conscience. Come down us again. My conscience got the better of me, my loyalty, and I went, okay, let's go. Met up with the other blokes. We walked up to Wilton Polygon in Cheetah Mill, and it resulted in two proprietors closing a jewellery shop, both going their separate ways. And my expectations as a teenager, I had expectations as a teenager. It was like, oh, he must have something in the case. End up where we followed him. And it wasn't my intention to actually become involved in any type of physical confrontation. Even though I had a knife on me. That knife was on me for a different purpose, to be perfectly honest, because here you had two secular societies. You had Cheetah Mill, you had Salford. And at that particular era, there was a lot of racism. And there's a road that separates these two estates, so to speak. And it's called Waterloo Road. And on two occasions, I was walking up Waterloo Road, cars pulled up, young lads got out, same age as myself, with various forms of weapons, and obviously were intent on doing serious damage to myself and Kane. And twice we ran. Now, on the third occasion it happened, Kane didn't want to run. But I said, we have to run, because they're going to give us a good hiding, possibly, maim us. But from that point on, and it was foolish of myself, to be perfectly honest, I said, I'm going to buy a knife. I'm not going to run no more. I'm not buying a knife for the purpose of committing any serious injury, but to ward off. Yeah, more than anything else. But that type of incident never occurred again, because the last thing I did with that knife was put it in my Parker coat and forgot about it. And it was only when we were going to do this robbery on the shop that I just happened to pick that coat up. And I could say two proprietors went their separate ways, and as one was walking through Wilton Polygon, I remember going up to him and systematically, as I tapped him on the shoulder, I just took the knife out, and my words were to him, give us the brief. But before I finished saying, give us the briefcase, he started fighting with me. And I completely forgot about that in my hand. And, throughout the scuffle, throughout the fight, and he was giving me a good hiding at the same time. Don't get me wrong. We fell down a couple of times because of the snow, because of the ice. And it resulted that he received 2 stab wounds. Unbeknown to me, that I actually stabbed him. The last thing I recollect, I can't say his name, last thing I recollected the victim, as I was exiting Wilton Polygon, was him brushing himself down. So that gave me no indication that I'd done anything. And it was only later, as the evening was drawing in, that it came on the news. And I put 2 and 2 together. So panic mode set in. I was still on the estate, but ducking and diving because the police were after me now. And eventually they did apprehend me.
So how did you feel when you found out that it died? How was that?
To tell you the
feeling for
truth, right, I was frightened. You know, it was just nothing to glorify in it. I was frightened. My actions were foolish. I had no intention of actually killing anybody. Intentions of, you know, like walling off. Look, I've got a weapon. Don't do anything. You know. But I was frightened. But at the same time, I was a bit sad and remorseful because I thought, what have you done now? You know. And I knew that my fate had been sealed. You know, for whatever period, I didn't know at that specific time, but I knew I was going away for a long time.
Did you go on the run or anything at that point?
At that specific time, I was on the run for 2 days, but I was still in the same area, ducking and diving.
Yeah, you're only a young boy. You don't.
I was young. I didn't have finances. I didn't have connections to get out from the estate. I didn't know where I was going. You know, so it was like my head was up my arse. And eventually the police did apprehend me. On the Saturday they apprehended me. They just happened to see me ducking and diving, but coming down the street towards them while they were all hiding. And then they just pounced on me.
What was that feeling like when you got charged with murder?
I was like numb to
Just
be,
blank.
yeah, numb. You're going through a lot of emotions, to be perfectly honest. You know, like I say, you're anxious. You sad about the situation. You wish that you could reverse the time. You know, you're fearful of what's to come. But like I said, your fate's it's sealed, and you can't change nothing.